You know that little moment when just something with your clothes just doesn't sit right. Your belt keeps shifting, your blouse gapes open at the bust, or you're really afraid that a nice gust of wind is going to expose your nether regions to the world. It's the kind of thing that just quietly chips away at your confidence, even if the outfit itself looks fantastic. Over the years, I've learned a few small tricks that have completely changed how my clothes fit and feel, like this simple belt hack that keeps everything perfectly in place. So today I want to share a few practical fashion fixes that will help your clothes work for you, not against you. Okay, so my first few hacks revolve around belts. And one of the best purchases that I've ever made was a belt hole punch. This is amazing for adding an extra couple holes to your belts. If you have weight fluctuations, if, I don't know, you just need a little bit more space, or sometimes the holes are a little too far apart and you need something right in the middle, you can add your own punches, you can add your own holes. This one here has a kind of a rotating head. It's a little difficult at times. So you can do multiple different sizes here, from, pretty small to very large. And it's very easy. You just put the belt right in the middle and you just press it down and it punches right through. I've even used this on shoe straps that don't have enough holes. If your feet swell or if you have a little bit wider arch, these are great that you can just add a couple more holes there to make your shoes a lot more comfortable. This next hack is perfect for if you're wearing a skirt or trousers or anything that doesn't have belt loops, and you want to make sure that the end of your belt isn't flapping around. So all you have to do is take a clear hair tie, can be any color to be honest, I like the clear ones, and just thread it over the belt and boom, you've got your own belt loop. So it keeps it nice and taut, it's not flapping around anymore. If you've ever had a pair of trousers and you're wearing a belt with them and the belt just doesn't seem to want to stay put, it either rides up or it just kind of moves around right in the front, this hack is perfect for you. Start with the belt buckle on the same side as the buttonhole. You will unbutton your trousers and place the prong of the belt buckle through the buttonhole. Then simply buckle the belt as normal. You don't need to button the trousers. Now your belt is fully securing the closure and won't move up and down. And since the belt is essentially attached to the trousers now, there's no issue with taking them on and off. This next one, I don't really know if it's a hack or not, but it is something that when I share this, people think, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? But one of the great ways that I love to kind of customize my clothing, especially with my e-Shakti clothing, I would get the dresses and I didn't always like the buttons. I would switch out the buttons for vintage buttons, and also I would add a vintage belt buckle. And it really elevates the garment, and you can do this with anything. If there's basic buttons on your garment, switch them out. Vintage buttons and belt buckles are pretty easy to find, and they can be pretty inexpensive. So I prefer these types of belt buckles because I don't have to worry about the the little bar on some of these and creating a hole, which you can if you have your belt hole puncher. But these I really like because I can switch them out, I can use them on different belts, and the easiest way that I do them, you just take whatever end you want. I like to have the open end. It makes it easier to thread through, just like that. And so you just pin that right through. Make sure you're getting all of the material so it all stays in there. There. So when you're wearing it, it can be hidden. So all you're going to see is the material here. And then when you loop it around on your waist, you're just going to pull it back through this open one and back over into there. And then you can just safety pin that to the rest of the belt. For the next few hacks, it's going to be more about blouses. So as a bustier gal, I do tend to have issues with gaping with button-down shirts. And it's just something that has always happened. It doesn't really matter what company or brand I use. 9 times out of 10, it's going to happen. So I do have a couple of fixes. Some are more permanent than others, so you can choose what works best for you. So from the least permanent, safety pins. Safety pins are going to be the best option for a very quick fix, something that is not going to be permanent. You can take it out easily. But the way you put your safety pin in is very important because, of course, you don't want that safety pin to show. I like to do this when the shirt is inside out. And you want to make sure that your safety pin is large enough to really shore up that gap in the middle. So I like to connect this part of the placard and this inner part here. That way you don't see the safety pin on the outside. So you literally just poke it right through. Make sure it's only going through this part, not going through the front part of the shirt. Take it all the way down as much as you can, and then just pin it. That way it's completely flat. And so you can see when the shirt is right side out, it's totally closed, but you don't see the safety pin. The second kind of less permanent option is using something like fashion tape. This works really well for multiple reasons, but it's basically a little like double-sided tape, and you can cut it to whatever size you want. You just place it right into the placket and press it down a little bit. I will say I said it's not permanent, but it is a little bit difficult to take the adhesive off at times. And if you forget and you put it in the washing machine, it's almost going to be fused together. So it is something that you have to be aware of and, make sure that you take that off. You can also use fashion tape, actually on your skin. If you have something that you want to lay down, you can press it on there. But fashion tape is fantastic. It can really help in many, many different ways. So the two kind of permanent solutions are actually sewing the placard closed. And I do this a lot with my clothing. I will sew it up to a point where I can still get it over my head and I don't have to worry about it up here anyway. So I will sew it all the way up and it keeps the buttons nice and flat and I don't have to worry about gaping. You could also do something like this. So in this dress here, I actually sewed this completely shut from this point to this point. But here I added snaps right here. And then I just added buttons. They're non-functional. They're just there for looks. So that way I can snap this closed all the way up. So you can do that. And you can actually do that in between your buttons too. If that's where you're having the gaping, you can do snaps, you can do hook and eye. That is a really good way to still be able to open your blouse or dress without actually fusing it shut. So yeah, you can do little snaps if you want. If you don't sew, if you don't want to sew, you can use something like this. It's a hemming web. So it's an iron on. So you put this in between and you just iron it closed and it fuses the fabric together. So this is a simpler way to to close it together without actually having to sew it. So those are two very permanent ways. So if you have a shirt that is opening a lot, but you know exactly where you want to place it, this is a really good option. Or just sew it up. So this hack actually comes from my seamstress, Sophie from Years Gone By Boutique. She's absolutely brilliant, by the way. So if you have a blouse that you're going to tuck into a skirt or your trousers, and they have a larger button, something that sticks out a little bit more, and you don't want to ruin that silhouette, that nice soft silhouette where, you know, you're tucking it into your blouse or trousers. So what she does is she removes the last button, sometimes the last two buttons, depending on where it's going to sit. And she just puts in a hook and eye. So it still closes the blouse, but it lays flat. It completely lays flat. So you don't have to worry about those buttons sticking out. So whether you're making your own clothes or you just have a blouse that has larger buttons, you can remove that last button, put on a hook and eye or even a snap, and it just lays so much flatter and it doesn't break up that silhouette. So this hack is a little bit new to me and I haven't had a chance to fully utilize it yet, but I will probably in the spring and summer. If you've ever had a long sleeve shirt that either the cuffs are a little tight, so it's a little hard for you to get it on, or you have a long sleeve and you want to pull your sleeves up without having to unbutton it and roll them up, this is a fantastic hack for you. So essentially you are going to get the clear hair ties, and you are going to add the hair ties to your button through the loop. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. But this gives you a little bit of freedom so you can easily put your hand through, pull the sleeve up so it's still buttoned, but it stays nice and taut to your arm. But I have found the best way to do this is to do it when your shirt is still on the hanger. Don't try to do this when your shirt is on your body. It's almost impossible to do it. So while it's on the hanger, you're going to loop the hair tie over the button, and then you're just going to thread it right through the buttonhole and bring it back around and loop it over the button again. And that gives you a nice elastic that you can just easily put your sleeves on and off or roll them up if you wish. Okay, this last hack is for my gals who love to wear skirts and dresses when it's pretty windy out. Now, I'm not saying in full, gale force winds this is going to work, but if there is a little bit of a breeze and you have this really darling, light cotton dress on and you don't want that to be flowing up over your head and showing everybody your bits, curtain weights. These are little curtain weights, and I sew these into the hems of my skirts or dresses. And I have them, I have a handful of them. You can buy them in many different ways. They do also come in like a rope if you want to sew that all the way into your hemline. I haven't gone that far yet, but these work really, really well. I sew them, but I really just pin them. I use a safety pin, and I pin them into the hems on the sides of the skirt. And so it's, you don't see it from the outside, but it really helps to give it a little bit of heft, especially on the sides. If you have a shirt dress where the buttons go all the way down, you can also tack these to the front, but you can tack them anywhere you want. And as long as you're kind of doing it flat enough, you're not going to see them. They're not going to bother you. But they work really, really well with just giving your skirt a bit of weight so the wind doesn't, completely take it up over your head. So since I've been living in Vienna and it's very, very windy here, I use these a lot. It's really amazing how much difference just a few little tweaks can make. Suddenly, the blouse that you never wore feels comfortable again, or those trousers sit exactly how you want them to. Confidence isn't about having the perfect wardrobe. It's about knowing how to make your clothes work for your body, your life, and your style. So before you decide something just doesn't work, try adjusting it. Sometimes it's just one small change away from becoming a favorite piece. That way of thinking extends beyond clothes too. My channel is about taking thoughtful ideas from the past and adapting them to modern life, whether that's how you dress, how you care for yourself, or just how you move through the world. If that kind of approach resonates with you, I would love for you to subscribe and spend more time with me here. And if you found any of these tips helpful, please let me know in the comments and share your own fashion fixes. I would love to hear the clever things that you've discovered to make your clothes work better for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Or share your fashion fixes. Fashion fixes. Why do I write things that are so hard to say? Comments and share your fashion fixes. Oh my God. Fashion fixes. Fashion fixes. Fashion fixes. Fashion fixes. Fashion fixes. Fashion fixes.